but with each burst of effort, the current pushed him back. John's strength was beginning to fail when 2 sets of strong arms surrounded him.
"Rest on us. We will get you to shore."
John looked around to see 2 Achu men, one on either side of him. He felt their powerful legs kick, and slowly they all moved away from the danger of the reef and into the calm, safe water of the lagoon. The men pulled John along until he felt sand beneath his feet.
"Our father is alive! Our father is alive! We thought you drowned, but you are alive!"
cried the Achu Christians as they ran to help John up onto the beach. Many of them kissed his hands and laughed with joy. As he rested on the beach after the ordeal, John wondered how he could ever explain to his friends back in England the adventures he had experienced since coming to the South Pacific. In fact, it was difficult for him to believe some of his adventures. He now lived in such a different world from his friends and from the life he had known as an apprentice back in London. Things could all have been so different if he had not met Mrs. Tonkin on the street that Sunday night so many years ago. Without that seemingly chance meeting, he could be back in England plying his trade as an ironmonger, instead of being halfway around the world, proclaiming the gospel among the cannibals and fierce warriors. Chapter 2. The Best Hour of His Entire Life. 17-year-old John Williams stood outside the bakery on City Road in London, waiting for 3 friends to show up. It was Sunday, January 3rd, 1814, and church bells were chiming 6 o'clock in the evening. "Trust them to be late," John murmured to himself, trying to think what he should do next. Should he go on without his friends, or waste more time waiting? The 4 of them were supposed to be going to Highbury Tea Gardens, which sold more beer than tea. The other 3 boys, like John, were apprentices, and each Sunday night they enjoyed drinking at Highbury Tea Gardens and swapping stories from work. "Oh, John, how good to see you," came a female voice from behind him. John turned to see who it was. He quickly pulled off his cap. "Mrs. Tonkin, ma'am," he said, unsure what else to say to the wife of his employer. "I am glad I ran into you, John," Mrs. Tonkin went on. "I've been wanting to invite you to come to church with me for quite some time. And now look, you are standing on the side of the road doing nothing, and I am on my way to church, not 2 blocks from here." John smiled nervously. The last thing he wanted to do was set foot in a church. His mother was a Christian, and she dragged him to church with her every Sunday when he was a boy. Now that he was out from under her grasp, he had no intention of wasting part of his day off on such a boring activity. Church was fine for women like Mrs. Tonkin and his mother, but it certainly was not anything he was interested in. John looked up and down the street, hoping to catch a glimpse of one of his friends, but no one was in sight. Thank you, Mrs. Tonkin," he replied gingerly. "I would be happy to go to church with you one day, but not today, as I am waiting to meet some friends. We are going to do something together." "And where might you be going?" Mrs. Tonkin asked. Now John felt trapped. Being an apprentice in 1814 was a serious matter. His employer had control over where he went and what he did, even on days off. If John said he was going to a beer garden, he might get in trouble with Mr. Tonkin, and he couldn't think of a good lie to make up on the spot. "Oh," he said, we weren't going anywhere. We were just meeting here." Mrs. Tonkin gave him a questioning look. "Well," she said, linking her arm into John's, "then you really don't have anywhere else to go. And I think Mr. Tonkin would be very pleased to hear that his fine young apprentice accompanied me to church tonight. What do you say?" What could he say? John forced a feeble smile and nodded. 5 minutes later, the 2 of them were walking through the doors of Whitefield Tabernacle. Mrs. Tonkin led the way to a pew near the front and sat down triumphantly. Once seated,